I don't trust that bitch.
Ferris Bueller?
No.
No.
I don't like him.
We're
Fuck
kind of
my
like
life.
call her daddy, but for girls who had a Hamilton face. Ahoy!
Welcome to the Girl Historians.
I'm Carley.
And I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls.
And our girls talking about history, and history's happening in Manhattan and happening in the greatest city in the world.
In the greatest city in the world.
In the greatest city in the world. We're
Yes.
in Toronto. Did you see that video, that TikTok that I posted that was someone sent it to us through TikTok and Instagram? Actually, a couple of people sent it, where it's a guy in Christie Park in Toronto driving a Titanic car.
Yeah, I didn't know that was Christy Pitts.
It was
Somebody sent it to me and they were like, be honest, was this you? And I saw it and I was just like,
fucking
I'm
wish.
so happy because it feels like we're overdue for a moment of just Toronto random NPC moment. Like, I want somebody who's just kind of on their own side quest.
Yeah. Who's popping through. Usually Toronto has like a couple of just like,
But we're overdue. Because usually we have a couple people doing crazy stuff for just themselves.
I feel like that's just like something that happens like in a city, but I do feel like Toronto is known for going like kind of viral for people that do crazy things. I feel like more than I see stuff from like Vancouver. Like we had like Rob Ford, obviously iconic crack smoking mayor.
I was talking to my manager, Sophie, who you know, the other day, and I was like, talking about Doug Ford, Rob Ford's brother who ate a bee on national television.
Oh, that's a bee.
Oh, that's a bee.
That's a bee.
And I was like, oh, you might not know him, but you probably know his brother who was the mayor of Toronto and got caught smoking crack. And she was like, no, I don't know who that is. And I was like, he was like famous for smoking crack.
Yeah.
Like he got caught smoking crack.
What a thing to be famous for.
He got accused of cheating on his wife and he said, I have more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He used to like go to, there's a video that I love of him in a Jamaican restaurant in like Etobicoke, speaking patois, just like fluent patois, like a Jamaican dialect.
Yes.
And everyone in the comments like are just like a bunch of like people being like, this is so offensive, and a bunch of Jamaican people being like, he's really good at patois. He really knows this dialect. Like he's crazy. And then he died. And now his much worse brother, Doug Ford, is
ripping up bike lanes.
Yeah, is ripping up the bike lanes because he wants cyclists to die, which is crazy.
I know.
Also close the science center.
I know. I was saying because I've been convinced, I've told you that I'm going on The Social next week, and this will be out by the time that happens, but they keep kind of alluding to a secret guest being there.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be Taylor Swift's hairdresser.
No, this is what I'm saying. It's going to be like somebody who went to camp with Taylor Swift, because it's Taylor Swift special, because the Eras tour is happening next week.
Oh, yes.
So the city will be unusable for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
And that's what happens.
And that's what happens.
And I'm like, I kind of feel like in my heart of hearts it's going to be Justin Trudeau. I think it's going to be Justin Trudeau. And I'm kind of like, I want to throw a shoe at him. Like that Iraqi journalist threw at
George W. Bush.
Yes.
Why would Justin Trudeau come to on the Taylor Swift special?
He's addicted to attention, Blair. He doesn't want to run a country. He wants to be famous because he does this all the time. He just wants to like be on podcasts. Like he doesn't want to like.
He doesn't really want to do anything.
Fix anything.
I was rewatching the clip of Justin Trudeau giving like a speech or whatever, and he's like, I love to support the LGBTQ LGBT.
He says GDP. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's Freudian. That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta get the GDP up from these gays.
Yeah, the gays need to spend money.
The gays need to spend money. The gays are not spending enough money.
Because he was like, and there's always pipeline stuff happening in Canada, and like fair. But while that was happening, he was like tweeting at Taylor Swift, being like, come to Canada for the Eras tour. And everyone was like, fix the pipeline.
Fix the pipeline. You freak.
It doesn't, sorry, this is like in my face and I need to tangle
That's
them
okay.
again.
Carly's fighting with the plants.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
So
plant.
I think it's going to be him, and I actually like don't know I do not know what
That's
I'm
really
going to do
funny.
because I have to for my job. Oh, okay, stuff's falling.
I fear that he's going to be charming. I remember like back.
But I also have for my job, like I can't like.
No, you can't just throw a shoe at it. You can't attack the prime minister.
No, like.
I'm sorry.
And we know this.
I know you really want to. I remember when he was like in his heyday, like when I was in university, like and people were like obsessed with him because he was hot.
He was new,
And I made a graphic of him making like a heart symbol with his hands, and I superimposed it on the 1-800 hotline bling image from the Drake music video.
That sounds pretty funny.
Which is very 2016.
But it's funny at the time, yeah.
It was pretty good at the time. People were like, "Your Facebook cover photo looks awesome,"
and you're like, "Thank you,
thank you. It rocks to live in this year that we're in." And then it all went downhill.
I know, and then something bad happened, and
then Donald Trump got elected.
We were supposed to record the day after the election, guys, and we had to push it off.
Oh, it was like so sad. Because we were watching the election together.
Yeah.
And then I've never seen a breakdown like the one you had where you just started like obsessively Swiffering your house.
Yeah, I just left the room to clean.
Yeah. It was quite frightening.
Yeah.
And it was like we were all kind of like jokey about it, and then it just got like more and more serious, and it was like
everyone just got kind of quiet and left.
Oh, this is bad. Carley started cleaning the house, and I was like, it was one of those things where I was like, should I stay in case something bad happens, or should I leave in case something bad happens?
Like, do I want to be here for this?
Yeah, exactly.
Know. Yeah.
And so I left, and then the next morning I was sort of like, hey, do you want to record today? And you were just like, no, but if you want to, I can pull it together. And I was like, girl, no, I'm like lying catatonic in bed. Like, I'm like, let's push it.
Yeah. No, I'm happy we did it. Feels a bit,
yes.
Obviously the world is going to end, but it feels a bit,
we knew that.
But hey, we were overdue. It feels at least a little bit more manageable. We're not aftershocks. We didn't want to like give you guys, because we record, you'll be able to tell from when this is coming out. Like we do record a bit ahead of time.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like, do people like really want to hear like the immediate aftershocks of this and just be depressed?
Especially from like two Canadian girls who like aren't going to be directly affected. That's like something I'm trying to be aware of. It's like
it's different, and Poilievre is different too. The conservative leader here, his name is Pierre Poilievre, and he's probably going to get elected, which is actually awesome.
For sure, he's going to get elected.
But it is just different. Like Canadian conservatives and American conservatives are different.
Also, just like our stuff is so airtight. Like we really can't. Nothing can really get like moved around the way that people are like, obviously there's always a threat, but like just like the Charter of Rights and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
really have to dismantle our constitution to really change the
And we've got
basis.
just such like a British parliamentary system where it's like we need the king to approve a bunch of shit. So it's like it just doesn't get done in the way that like America can really just like rattle the country.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to be aware of being like, we're next, where I'm like, I just think that's like inappropriate right now for a country that's under a lot of threat.
Yeah, and there's issues, but it is different.
For sure there's issues. I'm not defending.
No, I'm not saying that to you. I know. But I'm just being like, we've got problems, but it's just different, and we have to understand that.
Little brutal.
To talk about Justin Trudeau again, I saw a video of him being like, my daughter is here, so I want everyone on the floor to hear me today. A woman's right to choose will never be taken away in Canada. And I wanted to be like, don't talk about this. Like, don't give them ideas. Like, don't
be like, wait a minute.
Because one of the things that's great about Canada is like that issue isn't necessarily super politicized.
No, it's
like
not.
It's just kind of accepted that like, which I feel like is where we should be with abortion, of just like, you don't have to get one.
No.
But you should be allowed to. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people who even get abortions don't necessarily want an abortion. That's like the big...
That's the problem.
That's the problem. Like, that's why you have to have them, because... in Canada, it's definitely seen more as like a medical procedure. Like it's protected under medical law more than it's like a social kind of.
We don't have like we don't have Christian nationalists really. We have some crazy fucking people.
Well, yeah, like the Proud Boys started in Canada, which always baffles me. I'm like,
the trucker convoy. Well,
it's like I was talking about it last night with a couple of friends, where it's just like we're in Toronto and there's people walking around in MAGA hats. I'm like, how pathetic are you? You're like,
well, that's what's so fucking bitchy about it. Is I'm like, you're a sniveling little bitch. Like,
yeah.
This is not your country.
You're fanboying of a fascist dictator of a country that you don't even live in.
Yeah.
Like, go back to Saskatchewan, bitch. Like, what are you doing? Move.
You can move.
You want to move? You want to move? Go.
Go. We don't want you.
Leave. Switch out with someone who wants to be in Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, idiots.
Anyways, we'll move on. I know you don't want to hear about it, but it's hard to not talk. I think everyone knows it's hard to not talk about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think that, like, final thoughts on Trump is like, obviously it's awful, but I think like right now is the time for, you know, community support and
let's
start the uprising.
Period. And I want to say one thing, because we're friends with comedians and actors who I will say top 1% of the most narcissistic people in the entire world. You guys should have seen how people were centering themselves immediately.
It was crazy. I know today is a dark day for everyone, but don't you want to laugh?
Laughter
Come
is
to
more
my show
important
tonight.
than crazy.
The world could use a laugh right now. It's like,
shut
girl,
up.
don't talk like that.
And that kind of language pisses me off. And again, what you said, and then we'll stop. Is like, it pisses me off so much because it's like, actually, by me doing exactly what I would have done if Kamala won, by not changing my behavior at all, it is activism.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I would have done this show regardless of who won. And for me, that doing nothing is activism. Like, guys, especially around the holiday season, like, you volunteer, get active in your community, engage in like local elections. That shit matters. Like, and I know you all are probably normal, but I just wanted to like put an ice pick in my eye, seeing random, like, the thing that drives me insane is I'm like, we're all underemployed. Like, we are the people that have free time to dedicate to different things.
Figure it out.
You can
do
something. And that's way more helpful than being like, by me doing, I was going to say this way too fucking specific, and I won't say that because that's just, but being like, when I tell my pube jokes on stage, that is activism, and I am political inherently. It's like, no, you can do that. Like, you can tell your jokes. You don't have to change your entire existence and the comedy or the art that you do.
Everything I do is political.
Exactly. And if you're like, I'm like, you're not a trans woman. Like, relax.
Yeah, I think like recognizing how much of your life is politicized, because I do think that like most people have at least like one element of their life that is extremely politicized, but it's like, it's probably not the fact that you're doing stand-up comedy. Like, relax. Like,
literally,
people have problems, but anyway, it's time for the revolution is all I'm saying.
No, burn it down.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, Pluto is going into a new sign, and I'm forgetting which one.
I was reading somebody's birth chart last night. I was reading LeBron James's birth chart.
You're always reading the craziest people's birth charts.
Yeah, he's a Gemini rising.
Okay.
And I was like, that really checks out, because it was, I believe it was Aries and Aquarius. I forget which one was which for his sun and moon, and then Gemini rising. And I was like, this actually really checks out.
That's a really good
Very
chart.
hardworking, but also like
crazy. A little crazy. You're Cancer rising. No.
Sag
rising. You're Sag rising. Cancer sun.
Yeah.
And I know your moon. It's just slipping.
It's Scorpio.
Don't tell me. Oh my God, Scorpio.
What is yours again?
Scorpio moon.
Tell me it all.
Taurus sun.
Yes.
Aquarius moon. Libra rising.
Okay. Libra rising.
Slayer.
Okay, guys.
Today we're doing the iconic. Would we call her iconic?
Well, this is the thing that's really interesting is like, I went in being like, I don't even really want to do the research on this script. Like, I don't really care about her. And I care about her now more.
Okay.
The information provided to me, I'm like, this girl.
Jane Seymour, the only one he truly loved.
Exactly.
Rude.
So this is the fucking thing. So we are doing Jane Seymour today.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason I resisted this, we're obviously going to do it. I'm not going to, but the part of the reason I was like, I don't really like her, is because of the narrative. She's the only one he truly loved, which is not just
objectively untrue.
Objectively untrue.
The only reason that that's kind of said is because she's the one who buried with him because she gave him a son.
Yes.
And then so he had like this like overarching love for her, and then like he doesn't really care for any of his wives after her, really.
Yeah, but there's like, and we'll get into this, like, it's like you said, objectively untrue. And I think that also does a disservice to her, because like, we all love Anne Boleyn because Anne Boleyn's fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, Anne Boleyn also has like obviously probably indisputed the most intense legacy
of
all the six wives.
Yeah, so
like she's the household name.
She's the household name.
Yeah.
And Catherine of Aragon, they were together for how long?
24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Insane.
So he loved her. Like, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He loved her.
It's like a very like weird, it's so funny how we've entered this, like if you've been following along with the series, Henry VIII, there's very much like a turning point where he starts getting ill. He starts getting tyrannical. He has this like messed up leg that plagues him day in and day out. And like, he's just kind of like losing it. And he's killed his last wife. You know what I mean? Like
he's lost the plot.
We're in a brand new era. We're in his reputation era.
No, this is his tortured poets era.
Oh, yeah. I just really want a son. Okay, can't wait to hear what you said.
Yes.
I've been
let me pull it up.
Plugging through my audiobook, and I just finished Jane Seymour recently, so I also have had her on the mind.
Yes, I love that.
Also, I actually just finished Anna of Cleves, so I'm ahead.
I really love her.
Anne of Cleves is
to me
fun. So funny. I would love to see like a sitcom about Anne of Cleves.
yeah. I agree.
I think that's like a huge concept that could be really funny.
Yes. Okay, shall we talk about
Jane Seymour. What's her song? Her song in 6 is not my favorite. It's the one.
But it's the big like ballad because her characters, they're all based off of pop stars and hers is Adele. It's like, I don't want your love or something, right? Like I'm strong.
That's what it is. I don't want your love. She it's hard to do an Adele-esque song when you're not Adele because unfortunately Adele is extremely talented.
Yes. Definitely.
Did you sneeze?
No, it's just stuck in there forever now.
Oh no.
Which is awesome.
It's amazing.
It's so amazing.
Sometimes
do you see
that?
Truly no, why would you see this?
Why would I see what? I can't wait.
Why Am I So Single? The new musical the fancy big musical that the writers of 6 had opened on the West End is closing.
What?
I know.
Why?
I want to see it. It's a musical very obviously trying to kind of do the same thing that 6 did of like appeal to a younger audience, which I think is a really noble pursuit, but I think it's very hard to do.
Why Am I Single is a rough title.
Yes. And it's autobiographical kind of thing of being like it's like two friends who are supposed to be writing a musical dating. They're like in their dating life. And I listened to the songs. Songs are bops. They have one of the main actors. I follow them on Instagram, but I forget their name. Is like star. Like it's a real kind of moment of like they're non-binary and a northern actor. Like they've got like a crazy funny but good voice. Like,
It'd be so my heart.
Being like, so I was like you know how that everyone who's northern is clicking off the podcast right now. They're so offended. But you know how I can't do it. But I love that accent. I think it's so good. Sick. I think so. I was like, oh, this is the thing that they talk about now of like the amazing thing of that different stories are being told of like we would never maybe see this kind of actor in a leading role in on their star power shit.
Love.
So good.
Love. Obsessed. The only new musical I've really listened to recently was the Warriors concept album that Lin-Manuel Miranda put out. So good.
I have to watch the movie before I really understand it because they'd be like, I'm running through the city. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
I know. I haven't seen the movie either, but like I kind of got the gist. They're like, you know, they're in they frame this other gang frames this gang that for the murder of their leader.
Okay.
Who's played by I don't know. But man, it's such a good soundtrack. There's so many good props on that.
We talked about this. Lin-Manuel Miranda, They Could Never Make Me Hate You.
No, I love him.
Love him.
I love him. Lin-Manuel Miranda, get on the pod.
Yes.
You want to know what's a fun thing? I'm wearing a sweater vest today, and under my sweater vest, I needed a white shirt. And so I'm wearing my
I love this shirt.
Rachel Zegler on Truth Tannic 2024 shirt.
I sleep in that shirt all the time. Shirt. It's so soft, yeah.
It's my only like pure white shirt right now.
I love that.
I can wear under my sweater vest.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're still out there, Rachel Zegler.
Yes.
We know you're doing the Snow White press tour.
We need to reach out, like full stop. I need to figure out how to reach out to John Green.
No, you need to, you do book videos on YouTube and he writes books.
Yes. Well, I don't do book videos anymore.
Okay, sorry. Cool.
I haven't really done book videos for like a year and a half.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, it's
more like pop
still
culture
got the
and
vibe.
commentary.
Okay, sorry. Well, you still have the vibe.
I do have the vibe.
You still have the vibe of doing
I'm always so surprised when people are like, "Oh, you do book videos?" And I'm like, they're like, "How's that going?" And I'm like, not only have I not done that for a year and a half, I also like post my videos when I post them online on my Instagram story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a real kind of testament, and I find it very freeing in that like nobody cares what you're doing.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of nice.
Everyone's thinking about me all day long, and none of my friends know what I do for a job.
Well, I know what you do.
But I remember when we were at Friendsgiving, Tim was like, "Oh, you do? So how are the book videos go?" And I was like, "I don't do book videos.
I don't do book videos."
You've known me for 5 years.
You've got the vibe of books, though,
and I do post about books.
And
online.
oh my god,
so Jane Seymour was born in 1908. Or no, oh my god.
Strong start. She was born at the turn of the century.
Cars were invented.
She drove in on the locomotive.
Yeah. No, sorry, 1508 or 1509. Oh my god.
Really close.
I've
Only
got
400 years.
Get my brain checked out why I can't read numbers.
It's kind of funny.
It's kind of crazy.
I kind of thought you were exaggerating, but there was like one time when I was editing the podcast, you were just randomly off by like 12 years for a Princess Diana date.
Yeah, like what's up with me?
I don't know.
It's like dyslexia, but just for numbers.
Yeah. Dyscalculia?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think dyscalculia is it, maybe.
Numlexia?
But I'm happy because I was so bad at math. but like tried really hard to be good at it. Like I was never one of the people that accepted that narrative of being like, I'm just bad at math. Like I would go in at lunch to work on math, and then my teacher would be like, you're really bad at this.
I'm really bad at reading like 6-digit or 7-digit numbers. Like it takes like, if you're like, I'm like 300,000, 6,500 or whatever. Like that always baffles me.
Yeah. So like translating it of like you see this 6-digit number and being like, what is it in words?
Yeah, like what number is what word?
I feel that.
Yeah, that baffles me.
Okay.
When I'm counting my money.
Yeah. your weekly. Yeah, your tips.
Yeah, my tips.
So awesome. Awesome. She was the daughter of Sir John Seymour and Marjorie. Marjorie Wentworth.
Okay.
She was the 7th of 10 children.
Jesus Christ.
This is also the past. There's no condoms.
No.
Not a lot of people know that about the past, but there actually aren't any condoms. You have 700 children because they all die.
Yeah.
Before they reach.
This is true. My grandparents did this with my father's siblings as well.
Yeah, my grandfather was like the second youngest of like 9.
That's bananas.
And they were like Irish and lived in like a single home house. Like
awesome.
The past was so bad, dude.
Dude, that's kind of sounds fun. Fun with your siblings every day.
Yeah, and that definitely happened. They weren't all molested by priests. So don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it, guys.
No way.
I love the Catholic Church.
Okay, I want to tell you a story. So I was listening to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, and she was telling. She told this like one of those like kind of like setup and punchline jokes that really makes her laugh. So I'm going to tell it to you because it made me laugh so hard.
I'm actually pretty excited.
We're going to get demonetized for it, but that's fine.
Awesome.
On YouTube. Okay, so there are 2 priests, and they're driving in a car, and the police pull them over, and it's like, gentlemen, we're looking for 2 child molesters, and the priests go, we'll do it. Isn't that funny?
That's really good.
I mean, Reese for talking about it and being like, I think it's funny also because it just like stops.
Yeah.
Like you're expecting it to be like, and then they said, blah, 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 and then blah, blah, blah. It's just like, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
It's stupid, but that's really funny.
Yeah.
Spotlight who? Spotlight who?
Okay.
That was really good. Go. I'm going to repeat that.
Spotlight who?
Spotlight who? Or just your joke. I'm going to tell that. I'm going to call my dad and tell that to him, actually.
Oh, he would love that.
Oh, no, he'd love that. He's going to call his brother.
It's making the rounds.
It's going to ricochet through the MacMillans.
Yes, exactly.
Catholic.
Woo!
Woo! Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour.
Son of John Seymour. Typical.
I know.
Okay.
There's 5 names in the past, by the way.
Yeah.
So they're a wealthy and prominent family and descendants of King Edward III.
Okay, cool. So another.
Sorry, my throat was so dry.
It's okay.
I'm trying my hardest.
I forgive you.
Thank you. So Jane was not well educated, and she only knew how to read and write her own name.
I actually did know this, but it's it's not funny, but it's very funny.
A little funny. It's not funny in the sense that it's sad that you don't want to educate women. I get that. It's a little funny in being like, but you went far enough to be like, well, she should write her own name.
I do feel
and to not pick up reading beyond that
at any point.
No.
I do feel like historians are a little bit savage to Jane Seymour, just in the way that like she couldn't read or write. She was just like not at the same level as the other wives.
Yeah.
And also like she was kind of the direct downfall of Anne Boleyn, where like historians jack off on Anne Boleyn so hard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that like the way they record her is just like, bitch couldn't read.
Yeah. Leah Michelle looking motherfucker. Have you seen that that clip of Jonathan Groff?
Yes.
Yes. I have seen her read.
I've seen her read. And then it's like BuzzFeedified, where I have these like those like headline articles that's like Jonathan Groff confirms that Leah Michelle can read. It's like, what's going on?
That was us. Like, I have to confirm that you can read. But what I do kind of love about Leah Michelle, I think she's got a lot of problems and bullied everyone on the set of Glee.
For sure.
I'm not saying that.
She's got a great set of pipes.
Oh yeah, literally my favorite quote from Glee that I think about all the time is when Kurt, my favorite character, the best character of all time, goes, God, she may be difficult, but she can really sing. And I'm like, that's just Leah Michelle. That's just about Leah Michelle.
No, it really is.
Yeah. I also love
Kurt Hummel. I'm auditioning for the role of Kicker. It's my favorite episode.
There's a lot of good Sue ones as well.
God, I love Sue.
There's one of my favorite ones is when, because we've talked about how Sue Sylvester is like maybe my comedic influence. Like her and Melissa McCarthy, like influenced who I am comedically more than anything else. She goes, I've decided I'm going to stop carrying ID. You know why? People should know who I am.
I feel like that's something I've said.
Yeah. She's so good. I love
She's perfect.
Jane Lynch.
Yeah, Jane Lynch is fantastic. I love her so much. And hard on the Melissa McCarthy too.
Yes.
Oh my God. Icons. And they just like did it different.
Yeah.
They just came in with like,
I find
kidding.
something so inspiring, and I haven't gotten there exactly yet, but I really think I could, of like, you can really get a lot more laughs if you're also really fine with looking horrible.
well, I was
Like
just
if you
gonna
look
say,
like looking ugly.
yeah.
Like Melissa McCarthy was like, I'm gonna look like shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's
100%.
funny to me if I look like shit.
But yeah, Jane Seymour.
Love her.
I meant to say Jane Lynch and said Jane Seymour.
Yeah, but they can look really, they don't care about
Yeah.
the way that they look, and that in of itself
100%.
is like,
So much funnier.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy to say, like, obviously, like, I understand that innately. Like, I think we all understand that. But there's a difference between understanding it and being okay with it.
Well, it's such a different thing too. Like I was thinking this with like a comedian who will remain nameless for the sake of this podcast, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But it's like I was thinking about it where it's just like guys who just kind of like half-ass comedy are annoying me so
Bro,
much.
don't
because
get me
it's like
started.
you are so like if you're like a straight white man, you're predisposed to everyone thinking you're funny, and even if you look like an idiot, girls will still think you're hot because it's hot for men to be funny.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's such a risk for a woman to just like look ugly and be really funny.
Yeah.
And like you know what I mean? And then
100%.
like to get like mocked for trying because like the thing in comedy right now is to just be like, I actually like
Don't
hate
fucking
this.
care.
I don't fucking
Bro,
care.
I'm so
Shut
bored.
up.
I'm so bored of it. Like,
It's
I actually,
boring.
like, I want there to be an inherent risk to the things that you do.
Yes.
I want there to be
Yes.
an actual possibility of failure. Because when you're just being like, oh, what's going on? And just doing the fucking voice and like
Yeah.
half-assing it. I'm like, that's not risk.
No, it's yawn.
Because you're inadvertently, by doing that kind of thing, being like, I don't care about this.
It's giving yawn.
And aren't I, it's stupid. Like the character I'm playing is
Yeah.
stupid, but you're not committing to it.
No, you're not committing. You're doing this half thing so that like no one can ever call you like a flop.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh well, I never cared about it anyway. It's like, oh, shut up. You're
And it's just
so
boring.
boring. It's boring. Like yawn.
Yes. Speaking of yawn.
It's giving yawn. Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour. So she only knew how to read and write her own name. She was proficient in household tasks and hobbies such as gardening and needlework. They don't make them like her anymore.
Motherfucking woman.
Yes.
Baby, that's right.
So in 1527, Jane began serving in the entourage of Queen Catherine of Aragon. I was researching this because I don't know a lot about like the royal court and like the jobs of them. Because for a long time I was assuming that they're like, I was getting maids of honor and like lady in waiting confused with like lady's maid. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Where I was like,
They're
why
different.
would rich people do this? Like to basically just be a servant
Yeah.
to a wealthy person.
Yeah.
It's different, obviously, but I didn't connect those two things. Where it's like you're
It's fine.
basically just like their entourage.
Yeah.
And you like pick up their long train.
Yeah.
If they're walking in a big long gown.
Yeah.
Or you like talk with them when they go out to tea, or you like watch some cello player come and play cello.
I think I'd be really good at that.
You would be really good.
Be really
at that.
good at being a lady in waiting.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's true.
To like an old timey queen.
Oh,
That'd be awesome.
I always think that like I am overdue for like a patron. Like I want to like there to be like an old woman who's like she used to be a patron of the arts, who's just like, you are the person, I'm a patron of yours. Like,
yeah.
I would love to learn from old people.
I know. I need like an old person mentor who's like cool.
I was considering there's like a lot of stuff in Toronto, especially because city life can be quite isolating, of like call a senior on the phone once a week or something. And I was like, maybe I'll do that.
That's cool.
Even though I'm shy. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I know nobody would ever think that from the way that I speak.
You are a little
but
bit
I
shy.
am a little bit shy.
Yeah.
But it's just that nobody would ever think that because
You're
of the
so
way
much-
that I conduct
you're so much
myself.
you're so much understood. No, I feel the same way whenever I tell people I'm like shy. They're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, well,
You don't get to decide.
you don't get to decide that for me. It's actually my life. So fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
So 1527, she's in the entourage of Queen Catherine of Aragon.
Cool.
We love K.A.
Okay.
Catherine of Aragon. And in 1532, she becomes maid of honor to Catherine of Aragon, and then is later promoted that year to lady in waiting. So she's climbing the ranks. She's good at this.
All right.
She can't read or write,
But she can needlework her way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And her personality is quite people, again, like you were saying, historians are kind of fucking rude to her.
Yeah, they're rude to her. They're like, she's boring. It's like, well, it sounds like she's...
Yes.
Like, there are takes of it being like, oh, she wasn't like, after Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII was like attracted to Jane Seymour because she was like demure and she was like calm.
Demure is
blah,
a
blah,
better
blah.
word. Because this, like, the words I found were like meek, obedient,
Yes,
virtuous, but like she also just seems like a chill. Like she's also just chill. Like
yeah, she's hanging.
You don't want, if you're a queen, I would, but I understand not wanting like crazy people who are just nuts. Like there is something nice to just be like, this person is nice.
Yeah, this
She's
person's
just
just
nice.
chill. I can just kind of like call her. She comes over, she like braids my hair, and then we watch the cello player.
This is exactly it, right? Like
what a dream life.
just like an easy friend.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's probably why I feel like, she was a good vibe in the circle. And that's why it's like, okay, you can be my lady in waiting. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun to talk to
wait
you.
for
You're
me.
nice. So after Henry married Anne Boleyn in 1533, Jane transfers and serves as her lady in waiting as well, which is kind of crazy.
Because she's
Like your friend gets
around.
sent to a nunnery and you just have to like be friends with the woman
Yeah.
who.
Also, she didn't even get sent to a nunnery. She just got sent to like a castle.
Oh, right.
Yeah. She like turned down the nunneries. So she's just like living alone and you're just like, guess I'm going to continue my gig.
I guess I have to still do this.
guess I'm going to do this again.
Yeah. What's the worst thing you could do if I'm bad?
Well, and it's like also one of those things where it's like, you think about like how many people had loyalty to Catherine of Aragon when Anne Boleyn came in. She was probably like low-key like, this bitch.
I do not like you.
This bitch, I do not
fuck
like you.
with
I do
you.
not fuck with you.
Yeah.
Straight up. I straight up do not fuck with you.
Yeah, and she gets hers, so don't worry about it.
She gets beheaded. Don't worry
And
about
she
it.
gets beheaded.
And
Let's say
gets
it.
beheaded. Let's say it.
say it.
We're not the first people to say that Anne Boleyn gets beheaded.
No, we know this.
When we know this. And
September 1535.
Okay.
Henry visits Jane Seymour's like familial home.
Huge.
Don't know why. The famous. I mean, royals just kind of go from people's houses to other houses.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? Her father is like a very influential. Like they are like royalty.
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah, or like titled aristocracy or whatever. So it's like, you go and do that. But
You visit.
yeah.
You have tea.
So her family home is called Wolf Hall. I believe those Hilary Mandel books are about her that like won the Booker or something. She's written like these historical novels. They're called Wolf Hall, and I think that's what
Cool.
they're about.
Okay. Slay.
But I haven't read them.
Me neither.
It's believed that this is when Jane catches Henry's eye, like at the home. She's there, but he's also probably like seen her in court, and Anne is acting. Henry's kind of like when things get tough.
I find a new lady.
I find a new lady, and I know 8 people, so it's hard
Yeah.
for me. So that's in September. This is when she catches his eye. They spend time there. She's very, again, like peaceful, quiet, very ladylike,
Yeah.
very virtuous, just kind of like a different vibe from kind of what Anne Boleyn is on.
Yeah. Who's a great.
Who's a
See you
menace.
next Tuesday.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just say.
Yeah. And we love that for her. That's why we love her.
She's
but
saying
it
all
is
sorts
different.
of crazy things like, I want rights. Bitch.
Shut up.
Shut up, Anna.
So that's in September. In February of the next year, rumors begin to spread about Henry's attraction to Jane. Now, this is not mutual, but he's just decided.
Yeah.
Because Anne is not bearing a child
Mhm.
or bearing an heir.
Yeah.
So he's pissed. So he's like, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
She's also a lot to handle. And I actually like this new girl who's chill. She's
Yeah.
actually really chill.
Actually, like, don't really like this Anne girl anymore, even
No.
though I literally separated from the Pope to marry her. I'm
Yes.
kind of more into Jane now.
So this is when rumors start circulating. This is in February. And the reason these rumors start circulating is because in January, Anne Boleyn had suffered a miscarriage and blames it on seeing Jane Seymour sit on Henry's lap.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Well, of course.
And we know what causes miscarriages.
Yeah. Well, this is also like the miscarriages of like, like of yore.
Yeah, they didn't have science.
Yeah. It's got to be rough.
Rough.
It's got to be rough.
And I think it's that kind of thing, we talk about. A lot of times people will talk about when it comes to dating of being like, if he cheats with you, he'll cheat on you.
Yeah.
So I believe, and Anne Boleyn was very smart and like educated and articulate.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible to fathom being like, oh.
Yeah.
But that used to be me.
But that's gonna be me. There's also a story where like she like saw that like Henry had given Jane Seymour a necklace and she like ripped it off her neck.
God.
I don't know whether or not
also
that's
kind
true.
of crazy that Jane is wearing that necklace around, girl.
I know. That's the thing. I'm like, how meek and demure and obedient and meek was she really?
Yeah. This is like when I was reading this again, it's like all between the lines and maybe it's just projection. But I think she's just a lot more of like, she's giving Aaron Burr. Of more just like she doesn't really
wait for it.
She doesn't really like. She's not like spoiled in that way.
Yeah,
like she doesn't really feel as though she's entitled to things. And I agree that these women should be entitled to things. Like I'm not arguing against that, but I think it's more just like, and we'll see this when she is married to Henry. Like she tries to influence policy, and then he's like, no. And then she's like, okay. Like she just kind of gives up. Like she's very like conflict avoidant, let's say, right? But like she's still sat on Henry's fucking lap. Like
no, she's doing stuff.
Yeah.
She's doing things. She's got that.
Yes.
She's got that guac 9000.
She's doing the gluck gluck or whatever.
Gluck 9000.
Crazy, man.
So gross. I'm sorry.
I know. We're kind of like call her daddy, but for girls who had a Hamilton face.
Damn, that's really good.
And
yep.
And what about it? So in the spring of 1536, Henry begins to actively pursue Jane. This is when he gives her the necklace, things like that. However, in the beginning, he sends her this letter and a bag of money, like gold, and she returns it to him unopened to like being like, I need to protect my virtue, all these things.
Okay, respect.
Yeah, preserving her honor. But as we know from Anne Boleyn, like this hard to get is he loves that. He loves
he wants the chase.
He's obsessed with the chase, so he becomes obsessed with her.
Because you also have to remember, like, through this time, he's taking, like, bazonka ton of mistresses. Like, he be fucking.
Yeah, it's not just about that.
Yeah, like, it's interesting that, like, the women he goes for are the ones who are like, I won't be your mistress.
Yeah, I don't want to be your mistress.
It's very, the Benedict Bridgerton's book.
Yes, an offer from a gentleman.
An offer from a gentleman.
Yes, which I keep getting letters from the Toronto Public Library being like, you need to bring this back.
You gotta read it.
I know.
It's so fun.
So, as we know from the past episode, Anne gets executed on May 19th of 1536, right? So this is in spring. He begins to... The turnaround on this is ridiculous. Like, it basically, not even their relationship, but from Henry visiting her home and being like, I like this girl, to Anne Boleyn getting executed is like 6 months.
Oh yeah, because like don't they also like he marries Jane Seymour like the day after Anne Boleyn is executed?
Yeah.
Insane.
They become betrothed one day after the execution and they get married 12 days or 10 days.
Oh my God.
No, 11.
Hey, when you know what you want, you gotta go and get it.
Life is short.
Life is short. And if you don't look around every once in a while, you just might miss it.
Yes.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII is giving Ferris Bueller.
You know what? I don't trust that bitch.
Ferris Bueller?
No.
No.
I don't like him.
But I love that movie.
No,
I added that.
movie.
I recently made a list on my letterbox of all my favorite movies and I added that.
Okay, iconic. It is an excellent movie. However, I don't trust Ferris Bueller.
You shouldn't trust him.
I don't think he's a good guy. I think he might be a psychosis of Cameron's.
I love that.
I think it might be him like imagining Ferris Bueller. Don't trust him. Love Cameron. I don't understand why any young teen boy should be in a parade unless he's a scout.
But what if he's dancing and lip syncing?
I don't. Well,
is he singing or lip syncing?
I think he's lip syncing. So if you're going to be in the parade, at least sing.
Yeah.
Dance, do baton or do scout walk or military.
Yeah.
Go, girls, get out of the parade. What are you doing? What do you mean it's your day off? What's your job? You're a school student. A student of school.
This is what the president, I mean, not the president, this is what the principal on Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like.
Okay, and I won't apologize for it. I'm sick of Ferris Bueller acting like he's not a little bitch. I'm sick of it. I'm over it.
There is a certain thing of just like, they have this more in 80s teen movies than now. I think it's harder now.
Yeah.
But like, in those movies, just being like, this kid is cool.
Yeah.
And
look
you just
at
have
this
to be like,
charismatic young boy.
And you have to be like, okay.
All right.
Sure.
Whatever. I know, I hate that. I hate being told to think of a character as cool.
I know.
Because they never are. They're always lame.
Well, yeah, he wears a little sweater vest.
I'm like, bitch, shut up. Anyway, he would murder his wife too. I think.
Oh my God.
Didn't Matthew Broderick kill someone with his car?
Yeah, I was gonna say he would do a DUI.
Oh yeah, he would do a DUI.
He would do a DUI.
He would do a DUI. He would, because he's in the damn parade with nothing to show for it. No baton, no singing,
Not even rehearsing.
no marching, not even rehearsing. He's
It's
not even with
just,
like the Red
it's
Cross.
just disrespectful
It's
to the crowd.
disrespectful. You could at least be in like a mascot thing or whatever. Stupid.
Or throwing things at the crowd like candy necklaces.
And, like t-shirts,
yeah, but no.
iPhones.
It's all about you.
What's up with like, they used to just like give out iPods. Why we stopped?
I feel like iPods are a lot cheaper, or were a lot cheaper than how like every Apple product now is like $500.
I guess.
But yeah, I remember like if there was like a raffle.
They'd have an iPod.
Yeah. I told you this story about how I accidentally started a rumor last year at the Second City holiday party that they were giving away a dirt bike. I was joking about it. But then Tia believed me. Like I was like, because there is a raffle.
She would. Yeah.
And they'd give away things like
and Tia would want the dirt bike.
She really wanted the dirt bike. Like they were giving, I think I said it was a BMX actually, but kind of the same thing. So on March 19th, 1563, Anne Boleyn is executed. We know this.
Yes, unfortunately.
From the beautiful Anne Boleyn episode.
Yes. Love that episode.
A lot more information on that there, but
yeah,
you know, Henry's pissed at her he like builds a case against her for cheating on him and stuff, even though he's cheating too. It is, I mean, she's a handful, but it is obviously an inherently sexist thing of like, puts together literally a case against her to be like, you cheated on me, and also you had sex with your brother.
Yeah. He's literally like just pissed off at her. And there's some other freaking reasons. You can listen to the Anne Boleyn episode. Yes, that is a freaking info dump.
There's a lot going on there.
It's a lot happening.
So the next day, Henry and Jane become betrothed.
Insane.
That's suspicious.
A little bit suspicious.
Yeah. And 10 days after that, so 11 days after Anne Boleyn is executed, Henry and Jane Seymour are married in a private ceremony at Whitehall Place.
Okay.
Love that.
Amazing.
Now, the marriage is kept a secret for a bit. Honestly, not that long before people start to find out, but Henry wanted to be kept secret for longer because he didn't want the I think he didn't want the public to object to the engagement.
Yes. Well, because he also was coming off of like the Anne Boleyn experience where people were pissed at him.
Yeah,
and for good reason.
You burned down the Catholic Church and started the Church of England.
Yeah. You also like took away all the monasteries and took all the money from the church for yourself. Like you're not necessary. People aren't like obsessed with you at the moment.
Yeah, and you did all that, and that marriage didn't work out and you killed her. Like what? So he wanted to keep it secret because he also just wanted to like control it, right? He wanted to regain kind of like the power that he had before.
Yeah.
Also, Jade is a smart power play in that. So, like she's so unoffensive.
Yeah.
And very pious in that Catherine of Aragon type of way
what
as
are
well,
they
which they love.
What are they going to say about it?
They love a godly woman.
So they kind of like Monica and Chandler it.
Yeah.
They have an episode where everyone finds out. Great episode.
I love that episode.
It's so good.
I love that episode.
I love like a hidden romance, and then you like, it's like, what?
And I love Friends to Lovers. I'm a Friends to Lovers, but like lover.
Way better than Enemies to Lovers.
I agree. I'll accept Enemies to Friends to Lovers.
Yes.
But I need friends in there.
Enemies to Lovers has to be done so well for me to fuck with it.
There has to be a very real reason for them to hate each other.
Yes.
And there has to be, for me, a really real reason for them to have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's just like, just kidding. I was attracted to you the whole time because you make me angry. It's like, okay, go to therapy.
Yeah, or it's like a misunderstanding, which I know is like annoying. But at least it's like, oh, well, I always thought that you said this. Yeah. Or like you were rude to me. And then you're like, well, my dad had just died. And then I'm like, okay. Whoa. You know what I mean? Like, I need there to be. It all makes sense. Like a reason. I also don't mind a misplaced, I think oftentimes like Beach Read by Emily Henry is an Enemies to Lovers, when really I'd argue that's more like a Rivals to Lovers, which is like they kind of, you know what I mean? Like
I still got to read that.
I have it if you want it.
I'm going to take it out on ebook.
Oh yeah, that's a good move.
I like,
but it's
Emily
like
Henry's
she's like a romance writer, and he's like a lit fic writer, and they went to the same program. So it's kind of the thing of being like, you always wrote like serious stuff and you look down on me, and he's like, no, I didn't, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I accept that. I think that's cool. Fine, you know?
It's very, what's that Iowa's Writers Workshop that Hannah Horvath goes to or whatever? Yeah.
Yes, love that.
I'm still trudging my way through Secret History, and I am liking it, but man, it's going on forever. I feel like I've been reading this book for years.
Donna Tartt doesn't edit, and I kind of love that for her. I love what that represents, because I think a lot of things now are very like spoon-fed. I think we have strayed too far in books, and I'll wrap this up. But from
not
like
a book,
from like, this is my issue with all the Sally Rooney discourse, where people are like, she doesn't use quotation marks, it's so hard to read. And I'm like, bro, not every reading experience has to be spoon-fed to you and the easiest thing in the entire world.
Yeah, there's
like there's a purpose for that. There are some books that should be easy and fun to read. I love an Emily Henry because it challenges me emotionally, but it's easy to read.
Well, part of it is like, 100%. Like, I also feel like it used to be way more common to like have like a popular book that had like some sort of challenging element to it. Like, blindness, I remember, was big when I was in high school, where it's like half the words are blanked out, and like even those like crank books about like YA drug addiction books. You remember those?
Yeah, and they like it like peters off.
Yeah,
right?
they'd like write them in like, you know what I mean? I'm like, but. Did you hear about this? Apparently, there's like a big controversy where like a lot of these book influencers don't even like read the books. They skim them.
Oh, babe, I could the stories I could tell of the book. I'll tell you right now. Like, yeah, I know the ones you're talking about, because I watched a Rachel Oates video about the skimming, and I love that, where it's like people being like, why are the paragraphs so big? And it's like, girl, you read.
It's like, what?
Like, it's
what do you
one
mean?
thing.
It's a big paragraph.
Like, you chose to do this, so I get lost there with a lot of like the criticism that you see on book influencing. And again, I used to do it like,
yeah.
But a lot of it comes from like, and I did this as well, of like, I don't like this, or I found this difficult, so it's bad.
Yeah.
And I fell into that trap as well, but that's like the space, right? Of like, why the fuck are these, like, people would always say, and they say this online a lot now too, is like, they only read dialogue.
Yes, I've heard this.
Which is horrific to me to imagine. Like, when I'm writing now, and I'm writing like a paragraph, I'm like, well,
better
somebody's gonna skim this. Like,
so like dialogue is so like, if anything, skip the dialogue.
Well, it's because they're reading it for like, a lot of them are used to reading for romance, which like but I'm like, girl, read a play.
I know. No, that's
and I love dialogue. Like, I live for writing dialogue. It's one of the things I enjoy truly the most. But like, these characters cannot exist in time and space, and also like their internal monologue is the same as dialogue.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people's thoughts inform what they say.
Yeah, 100%.
People often don't say what they mean, but they often think what they mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is your fucking issue? But also, and I won't name names, and leave this in, there are massive book influencers who do not read the books that they say they read.
Oh, I'm sure.
I read 250 books this year. Let me rank them.
You
and
didn't.
I'm like, you didn't. But you didn't.
You didn't.
There's no way.
Even if you did read 250 books in a year,
didn't read.
There's no way you internalize. Like, even like, I'm getting up to reading 70 books this year. Mind you, probably about a third of those are audiobooks. So really, I've read probably about 50 books this year. And I'm like, I should for sure not have read as many. Because there were some I just like plowed through. And mind you, some of them are like Bridgerton. So I'm like, what are you going to do other than plow through? But it's like, I don't understand this thing where it's just like, it's cool to be like, I read 200 books. It's like, slow down, girl.
Like, sit with them, enjoy them, savor them.
Yeah.
My best reading year, I think, was 2 years ago when I read 30 books. And it was like,
great.
It was the year that I read the most impactful things. Like, I was genuinely impacted.
And you're reading like challenging books. You're not just like, fuck, I have to hit a goal, so I'm going to read.
This is exactly it. Because that was when I quit book influencing specifically, like, and was like doing more commentary stuff, because like I couldn't read The Great Believer, is one of my favorite books of all time, because it was 500 pages, and I was like, I've got to post a video 3 times a month. Like, I can't. I have to read basically.
You gotta get through this.
Yeah, but that was like one of the best books I've ever read, and I wouldn't have read it otherwise. You know.
Okay, I should read that.
You should.
I should read them.
Well, that's to say, don't be Jane Seymour. Don't be these book talkers who can't read. Like, I just think that the joy of reading, and everybody can enjoy things in different ways. Yeah. I'm talking specifically not about if you're a person who skims books and you're just a private citizen, girl, do whatever you want. Yeah, like, I'm not the police. Like, who cares? But if you're positioning yourself in a place where you have to read, I believe you have a commitment. You've made a commitment to your audience.
Yeah.
To actually read and encourage these things.
Well, like, can you imagine being like a film reviewer and you're just sort of like, oh, I just paid attention when they were talking to each other? Like,
yeah, I
what?
was on my phone the whole time.
I was on and only looked up when like someone,
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Bananas.
Shall we go on? I had to. So now we can get on to her kind of like reign and like some of the more details.
I can't wait. Details.
So it's being kept a secret. So unlike Henry's other wives, she was never she never had a coronation or was crowned queen.
Bummer.
She's not like a queen, even though she is. But you know what I mean? Like, she was never crowned a queen. There was never a coronation.
Yeah.
Some historians speculate that this was because he was waiting for her to produce a male heir. It could also just be because like his public reputation is in the toilet right now. He's taking all the money for himself, using that money to do a coronation and all these things.
Might look a little bad.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse than killing your wife.
And they weren't together for very long. So like, it's possible that they were like, oh, we're going to do it later. And then
they just forgot.
Yes, exactly. For sure. So she was not presented publicly as the queen until June 2nd. So that really wasn't that long. That was like 2 weeks-ish.
Yeah.
Because word got out, but they wanted to keep it private for longer.
Yeah, because Anne Boleyn was...
I don't know how people found out in the olden days. I was thinking about that when I was reading that, and I was trying to be like, how do people find out? And because it's the 1500s, nobody knows.
He was probably just like toting her around. I feel like gossip networks, like
or like the people, like the chambermaids, and then they told, but
for sure,
that kind
absolutely.
Of thing.
I'm sure they weren't being
love to fucking talk.
Exactly, and I'm sure they weren't being as subtle as they thought.
No. Anne Boleyn already said that I had a miscarriage because this bitch sat on my husband's lap, like. There's been rumors speculating since the beginning of that year in February that there was something flirty going on. For sure. For sure.
They were not subtle. Let's say that.
Yes. So her personality, we touched on this a little bit. Historians use the words meek, obedient, and virtuous. She's a lot more demure, a lot more chill. And you can even see from her kind of like schooling and raising, it's pretty apparent to me, even if I'm just like making a big kind of sweeping gesture, but like she's raised to be a wife.
Yeah.
Like she is not challenging him the way that the the others did. And that's not a bad thing. It's like her role, she's a trad wife. Like she just is a trad wife. Sure. Like she wants to, she's like, I cannot read and write.
I cannot read and write. I can only read and write my name. Unless the words are Jane or Seymour. I do not know the words.
Yeah. But I'm really good at like needlepoint and shit. Like I'm here to be your wife. Like I'm here to serve. And also she was incredibly Catholic. So like a lot of her kind of identity is very heavily based on this idea of servitude and like
for sure.
Honor.
A good Catholic girl.
Exactly. Honor derived from serving God, from serving your husband, all these different things. And Christianity, we've kind of learned, I feel like from this specifically, is like a hobby at the time. Yeah. Like they believed it, but like the reason people were so Christian is because it's like you need something to do all day.
Yeah. Or else you're gonna
go nuts.
Die of boredom.
Yes. So
absolutely.
She took the motto bound to obey and serve.
Love that as a motto. That's my motto
bound
too, actually.
To obey and
bound
serve.
to obey and serve.
The algorithm in the modern day.
And that's
bound
what's
to
actually freaking Instagram.
That's what's so sick about this is that if this was in the modern day, Jane Seymour would be way too busy making reels.
She'd be so big. Like there's no
cooking reels. She would be doing cooking with Jane.
She'd be like, "Hi, welcome to Cooking with Jane," and then she'd do like a needlepoint.
Yeah, she'd do that thing where it's like, my kids were craving gummy bears, so I decided to make some from scratch.
Yeah. My kids were craving mutton and potatoes today, so I started by going out and slaughtering a mutton with my husband's long sword.
Yes, literally that. Like that's what she would be doing. I feel like she's honestly, she's not her divine femininity.
Yeah, divine femininity
is Jane Seymour. Yeah, she's girl defined.
Jana Smith. Jana seems nothing. Never mind.
Confused, but I love it.
I'm confused too. I don't know what I was doing.
That's okay. So I said before, she held conservative religious beliefs. Very Catholic. And the Catholic Church obviously doesn't like Henry right now because he's shut down all the monasteries and people are revolting at this time. So when he started, dissolving the monasteries, Jane pleaded with Henry to restore them and saying that the reason people were like angry at him is because of this. She warned that the rebellion that was happening from the people in the Catholic Church under Henry's rule was God's punishment for like dissolving the church, that kind of vibe. You know?
Real.
Very much like AIDS is a plague sent by God vibes. You know what I mean? Being like, chill out, girl. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes sometimes an apple is just an apple.
Exactly. And sometimes if you shut down the monasteries, it will seem like God's mad at you because people are mad at you.
And some might argue that's more important.
Some will say that God lives within everyone and you're pissed off the God within everyone.
Literally. So she keeps trying to get him to stop closing monasteries, keep them open, all of these things, and like that he's warning him that he's angering God.
Yeah.
And he says, stop interfering. Remember what happened to Anne. So basically kind of threatens her. Which is why when the narrative that she's the only one he truly loved comes through, I'm like, bitch.
I'm pretty sure he threatened to kill like every wife after Anne.
Well, because it's like you broke the seal. Once you kill one of your wives,
you're gonna want to kill them all.
Why stop?
The high.
Exactly.
The high you get from beheading a wife.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing like it.
It can't be understated.
It's like autoerotic asphyxiation, but
it's just
killing
so good.
your
It's
wife.
the choking game. Did you guys have the choking game?
No, I feel like you've told me about this
the
before, and
choking-
it's really scary.
Well, because I was a fucking loser, so I never choked anyone. So when they like played that thing at the film about it at assembly, I was like, you guys are fucking choking each other?
You guys aren't choking me?
Why aren't you guys? So you guys are choking each other
You guys
and
are
I'm not
choking each
invited?
other, and you're not even inviting me to choke each other. We used to do the mercy thing where we twist each other's wrists until it was too painful. And that's how I started thinking that there was something up with my joints because my wrist could twist really, really far.
Yeah, because you were stretching it every day.
I think I have something up with my joints.
Yes.
It rocks.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
The people loved Jane. I mean, she was only around for a little bit, but they did like her. I mean, also it's Anne Boleyn really paved the way for their like, well, she could be a lot fucking worse. She's better, I guess.
She's better, I guess, because this bitch.
And also because she was very Catholic and the majority of England was Catholic at the time.
Yeah.
So they were like, love that she's one of us.
Yeah.
Also, she mended his relationship, King Henry's relationship with Mary, his daughter.
Yes.
By Catherine of Aragon.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you guys need to start. Like, she got her back in his like good graces. So I guess that means that she's not like shivering in like a drafty castle somewhere with no money. Like, she was able to kind of like be royal again and like not have a horrible life.
Yeah.
And Jane tried to get Mary reinstated in the line of succession.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, focus on our own kids. Which again, this is the thing of like, girl, he's never going to pick you. Like, he's
stop
still
trying.
Stop trying.
He's always going to go back. He's always going to go back to the kids.
Yeah. He just wants you to bear him an heir.
Yeah.
Right?
All then a virgin 24/7 baby machine.
I don't know
that song from TikTok.
I don't know that, but I'm happy for you.
Okay, it's fine.
I like read books and stuff.
Okay.
I don't go on TikTok because I value.
Okay, well, I can read and write more than my own name.
That's anytime Jane Seymour was rude to anyone, being like, okay, well, I can read and write more than my own name.
I can fucking read and write.
So actually, shut the fuck up.
Actually, shut up.
Yes.
Whatever.
So after Henry warning her about interfering in state affairs, specifically relating to Catholicism, she basically, what I said before, she just like steps back immediately. She's like, stop, you have to reinstate the monastery. And then he's like, I'll behead you. And she was like, never mind.
Never mind, it's fine. I hate the monasteries.
I actually, whatever you want to do, baby. She just backs off basically immediately.
She's like, I mentioned you're so hot and you have really amazing shins.
Yes.
And you're really tall.
So in May of 1537, a year later, it's announced Jane is pregnant. And on October 12th, she gives birth to Henry's first male heir, King Edward the Sixth. What's VI?
6.
Great, the 6th.
King Edward the Sixth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Roman numerals, get them out of there. Write it out phonetically. Write the 6th.
I hate these numbers.
I know.
The line of England is so confusing. It's so weird. I hate a lot and I get really confused by it. Okay, so she has the son and he's so excited. He's like, I love you so much, babe.
Yes, and then 12 days later she dies of purple fever.
Yeah.
Not purple, the color. Puer. Peril fever.
Oh,
but
Jesus.
it's just like one of that old timey things that still exists now because nobody cares about women's health in any way. It actually doesn't matter to them. Of just being like, you died after giving birth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She was like bleeding a ton for like the whole time after.
Well, yeah, and a lot of these like old timey, and there's the things that matter even to this day, like the things relating to birth and women's health and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they value and you can see this in abortion rights as well, of just like you value the child more than the woman. I'm just being like, I'm sure that like they were like, cut him out of there.
Yeah, just get him out. Get him out. We need the kid.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, insane. So that's really sad. She dies on October 24th. So from this moment on, Henry mourns very deeply. He mourns for 3 years. He wears all black. He refuses to remarry for a while. And then in 1547, so 7 years later. So think about how he's running through these wives, because he dies 7 years later and he's already done 3 wives.
Insane.
Like, he is buried alongside Jane Seymour. So she's the only one of his 6 wives to share his like tomb.
Yeah.
So a little bit more of a less info heavy kind of just like chill one. Their entire relationship spans like 2 years. And a lot of that first year is not very interesting, because for sure, like, it's interesting when Anne Boleyn pursues him. That's just inherently interesting. It's interesting when you learn about like the deals made with Catherine of Aragon's family and all that stuff. Like, that's interesting, right?
Yes.
But it's not interesting to be like, he decided he liked her. And if she didn't want to marry him, he'd probably kill her. Like, that's not fun.
It doesn't have the zest that other
it's just
things
like,
do.
She was meek because like this is the fucking king and he'll just kill her.
Yeah. 100%. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you, Carly.
Of course.
But yeah, I do think she's such an interesting one, where it's like, it is quite sad. She just kind of got in there and then died.
Well, and there's also such a thing I find with doing research that like history and what stories are remembered are just, and we all know this, but it's interesting when you're looking for information, is like intrinsically driven by what primarily male historians deem to be interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the reason there's nothing there is she's been, and I'm sure there are, like, I'm not saying everyone, but let's talk about, we're talking about the story in popular consciousness, right? Like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, I'm literally a Jane Seymour historian, so shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not talking about that. Sure. I'm talking about like when you learn about them in history class, they're like, she's the one that he loved or whatever, where it's like, you know, in that time period, conforming to gender norms is what keeps you safe.
Absolutely. Even now, I'd argue.
Yes, of course. But in the narrative, it's not as interesting because when you're acting outside of gender norms, some could argue that you're acting more masculine.
Yeah.
And that's inherently more interesting to men. Not living it, but reading it and studying it.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Like,
it is so interesting how she's kind of breezed
she could have
over.
been really interesting, but like, well, we don't know, at least in the public consciousness, like facts about her, because they're like, well, she's a pious, boring wife and she gave up. And maybe she is boring, but I don't think that's true, because I think everybody's interesting, but it's just like those stories. Also, she can't read and write, so there's no fucking letters. Which is like where a lot of people get information, right?
Yeah, I do think that like it'd be cool to like go back in time and like meet her and see what was actually up, because I do think that like, yeah, historians just rely so much on letters from this time, which makes sense. Like, of course they would.
It's a written
record.
Like, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it would just be so interesting.
Because everybody has a personality, barring some people who really don't. And even then, that's kind of a trait in and of itself, because it's so you're like, so out without a personality. It's like, what's happening?
You actually are.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
okay. Are you ready, Blair?
Let's freaking go.
Let's make this tragedy about us. Oh, it's the time in the podcast where we take this tragedy, the passing of Jane Seymour,
and we make it about us, because we haven't talked about ourselves enough this episode.
And yeah, we haven't.
And we never get. And say it. I'm never satisfied with the level that we talk about ourselves.
Like, you will never be satisfied.
Satisfied.
Okay, Blair.
Yes.
If we were in the modern day, how would Henry VIII and Jane Seymour's relationship leak?
Ooh, okay, this is really good. I feel like they would do one of those like Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello like coffee walks for the paparazzi.
You're so right.
I feel like that's how it would really come out. Like, they think that they're like doing it like as friends to like temper the rumors.
But everyone's like, they're fucking. They look everyone's so like
they're fucking. Like, why are they staring off into space like that?
Nothing but love and light to Pickering boy Shawn Mendes and former Fifth Harmony member Camila Cabello. Nothing but love and light to them.
Yeah.
I can smell those pictures.
Oh my God.
Why do they look like, girl, you know what you're doing. Take a shower.
It's like that video of like that went viral of Kendall Jenner cutting a cucumber. Do you remember this? Yes. Where she was cutting a cucumber in such a wild way. And then everyone was like, why is she doing that? And it's like, I can smell her, dude. Like, she's so stoned.
Yes.
Like, there's no other reason for, like, you can smell the weed on her. Too. She looks like she's
Yes.
She looks like she's just walked out of a hot box.
And
like,
who among us would not, like, whenever you're high, you're always like, I'm doing this so fucked up, but I literally can't think of another way to do it. Like, I don't know how else to do it.
I don't know how else to do it. I'm really scared right now.
Yes.
I'm so scared. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, definitely like a coffee walk where they've like called the paparazzi like to like do that. Or alternately, it would be like still it's 2024 and it's like emails.
Oh,
Like it's really horny emails.
it's Hillary's emails.
I would like, yeah, like
Hunter
it's like
Biden's
on
laptop?
the work computer, like it's through the monarchy like server. Like they're
Yes.
like at you know, like Monarchy of England, like Henry VIII at Monarchy of England emails Jane Seymour, lady in waiting at Monarchy of England. Like it's through the like Microsoft like,
The Outlook.
the Outlook suite.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I want
you.
Fuck
That's
you.
probably
And then
what
they're
would
like,
have happened based on Tampon Gate. It's just like being horny on Maine and not knowing how to stop it.
But then like everyone's just sort of like, why wouldn't you guys text or do anything more private? Why would you email on the work computer? Like
Yes.
That's why. What do you think?
Okay, I've got two answers.
Okay.
Because I was thinking of this because there is no real comparison here. I just feel like if we were in the modern day, Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII's relationship would be launched the way Ariana Grande and SpongeBob's was.
Oh, yes.
She's obviously Anne Boleyn is SpongeBob.
Catherine of Aragon is making an Instagram post being like, you never really know a man.
Yeah, Colin being like, Anne Boleyn is not a girl's girl.
Yeah.
I just see that like weird kind of photos of them like at dinner with like Bo and Yang. Also that like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jonathan Bailey is at the US Open with Henry VIII. Like
they've just got like the court jester at dinner all of a sudden. And
yes,
sort of like,
exactly.
oh, what the hell is
just
happening
kind of
here?
crazy vibes.
Yeah.
They're going to see Camelot together and they're photographed. Like just stuff like that. I really feel like that's the vibe because Anne Boleyn is giving theater kid to me in a big way. Like she's obviously also she's got a mouth on her and she's like a very intelligent woman, but also I think she's giving theater kid a bit. Like she would be like Maud Apatow, nothing but love and light to Maud, but of being like, okay, I actually want to be in Little Shop of Horrors on Broadway.
Yeah.
You know, like I actually think I
actually kind of want to do that.
Like the rare kind of celebrity that wants to launch their musical theater career.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. I feel like that would be Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jane Seymour and Henry VIII would be that photo of Jeremy Allen White and Molly Gordon making out in the middle of the street. And you're like, these two?
Really?
What?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I like those answers. I like those answers a lot. I also could see like for Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII hard launching, I feel like it could be like a really weird kind of like Cobra Snake photo of them both smoking the same cigarette at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like they're clubbing at like, but like the Strokes are there. Like this is, and it's 2001.
It's
like,
indie sleaze.
Yeah, it's indie sleaze. They're like way more indie sleaze to me, I think.
I like that. I think she's definitely indie sleaze, but she's kind of like how Chloe Sevigny's husband is just like a rich guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like club rat indie girl to dating
and then
businessman.
Yeah, and then Anne Boleyn is just like in a trench coat smoking a cigarette, getting like photos taken of her, and it's like, okay, so iconic. Do you think that Anne Boleyn? Okay, here's my thoughts. I feel like Jane Seymour would make whipped coffee during the pandemic. And I feel like Anne
You've actually
Boleyn,
literally never said anything more correct in your entire life.
No, I feel like she would be like, this is crazy. Did not know you can make whipped coffee.
Yeah.
And she'd make it every day.
And she's drinking it to this day.
Oh yeah, no, she's drinking
like
it
she never
now.
stopped.
Like her sugar intake just absolutely like spiked and it's never coming back down.
Jane Seymour gets the caramel sugar cookie pecan frap from Starbucks.
I feel like she has a crumble membership. Like she gets the crumble of the even like when they do the pies, she's
doesn't care.
Like the pies are really good.
You guys don't understand the pies are actually really good.
You guys don't understand. She has a crumble membership. I feel like Anne Boleyn will get really into sourdough, but then like her starter starts to eat her brain.
Yeah, she's not good at Anne Boleyn is not good at doesn't have any patience.
And then she gets into like DJing.
Yeah, Anne Boleyn starts an OnlyFans over the pandemic. She sells her bathwater.
Yeah. It's like an OnlyFans, but like it's not really like it's horny, but it's not sexy.
Yeah.
You know? It's just kind of like it's like
it's Caroline Calloway dressing up as Hermione Granger, and everyone's like, this is a child you're dressing up as on your OnlyFans, by the way.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't do that.
And it's just like a loose picture of her nipple.
Yeah. But like only kind of like you're like, I guess that could be her nipple, but so close up it kind of could be anything.
Yeah, it's just not it's really horny, not sexy. Like, and you're like, and it's like taken on her laptop. It's like have some.
It's got like that like heart filter from Photo Booth.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Well, I feel great about that.
Yeah. I feel like we've really done it. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. We love you so much.
We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network. Sonar!